For more than 200 years, everyone who entered Black Hollow Forest came back. Some returned hours later. Some wandered out weeks afterward. A few came back so frightened they refused to speak for the rest of their lives. But they all came back. Everyone. Except Daniel Mercer. 5 years ago, Daniel walked into Black Hollow Forest carrying a backpack, a flashlight, and a camera. He smiled at his younger brother, Ethan, before disappearing between the towering pines. "I'll be back before dinner," he said. Those were the last words anyone ever heard from him. The town searched for 11 days. Police officers combed every trail. Search dogs refused to cross the tree line. Helicopters circled overhead without finding a single trace. It was as if Daniel had vanished the moment the forest swallowed him. Months turned into years, and people slowly accepted that the impossible had finally happened. For the first time anyone could remember, the forest had kept someone. Ethan never accepted it. Every morning he hoped for a phone call. Every knock at the door made his heart race. Somewhere deep inside, he believed his brother was still alive. Then, on a stormy night exactly 5 years later, his phone rang. The screen showed no number, only the words, "Unknown caller." Ethan answered. For a few seconds, all he heard was static. Then a familiar voice whispered through the noise. "Ethan." His heart stopped. It was Daniel. Not someone who sounded like him. Not a recording. It was his brother's voice. Weak, distant, as if he were speaking from the bottom of a deep valley. "I'm still here." The call ended. Ethan tried calling back, but the number didn't exist. He stood frozen in the darkness, staring at his phone. If Daniel was alive, where had he been for 5 years? And why hadn't the forest let him come home? Ethan didn't sleep that night. He replayed the recording over and over, hoping he had imagined it. But every time he listened, the same voice whispered through the static. "I'm still here." By sunrise, he had made up his mind. If there was even the smallest chance that Daniel was alive, he couldn't ignore it. The next morning, he drove to the edge of Black Hollow Forest. The place looked exactly as he remembered. Tall pine trees stretched endlessly into the distance, their branches blocking most of the morning sunlight. A cold breeze carried the scent of damp earth, and the silence was so complete that it felt unnatural. The old warning sign still stood beside the trail. Black Hollow Forest. Enter at your own risk. Someone had scratched another message beneath it years ago. Don't follow the voices. Ethan stared at the words for a long moment before stepping past the sign. At first, everything seemed normal. The ground was covered with fallen leaves, and narrow paths wound between the trees. Sunlight filtered through the branches in scattered beams. Then, after only a few minutes of walking, the forest became completely silent. No birds, no insects, not even the sound of the wind. It was as though the entire forest had stopped breathing. Ethan checked his phone. There was no signal. His compass spun slowly in circles before stopping in a direction that changed every few seconds. Something wasn't right. Then he noticed footprints. Fresh footprints. Bare feet. They were heading deeper into the forest. He hesitated. The prints looked familiar, almost the same size as Daniel's. Taking a deep breath, Ethan followed them. After nearly half an hour, the footprints suddenly ended in the middle of the trail. There was nowhere else to go. No rocks, no fallen logs. Nothing. It was as if whoever had made them had simply vanished into thin air. A chill ran down Ethan's spine. Then somewhere far ahead, he heard a branch snap. He looked up. Between the trees, someone was standing perfectly still. The figure looked exactly like Daniel. "Ethan," voice was calm, soft, almost comforting. Ethan's heart pounded as he took a cautious step forward. "Daniel?" The figure didn't move. It simply stood there, half hidden behind the trees. Tears filled Ethan's eyes. After 5 years, his brother was finally standing in front of him. He broke into a run. But no matter how fast he ran, the distance between them never changed. Daniel remained exactly where he was, watching him with an expression Ethan couldn't understand. Then the figure slowly lifted one hand, not to wave, not to call him closer, to point, behind Ethan. A cold breath brushed against the back of his neck. He froze. Very slowly, he turned around. Nothing. Only trees. Only silence. When he looked back toward Daniel, the figure was gone. The forest suddenly echoed with the sound of footsteps. Not one pair. Many. They moved somewhere beyond the trees, circling him without ever coming into view. Ethan forced himself to stay calm. He took another step forward, then another. The footsteps stopped. For a moment, everything was quiet again, until he noticed something hanging from a low tree branch. It was an old camera, covered in dirt. The strap was faded, but Ethan recognized it instantly. It belonged to Daniel. With trembling hands, he picked it up. The battery should have been dead years ago. Yet the screen flickered to life. There was only one video left on the memory card. Ethan pressed play. The recording showed Daniel walking through the same forest. He laughed into the camera, joking about the old stories. Then his smile disappeared. The camera turned sharply toward the trees. Someone or something was standing just beyond the edge of the frame. Daniel whispered, "Who's there?" No answer came. Instead, the camera captured a strange sound. A slow, steady whisper. Not one voice, hundreds, all speaking at once. The recording ended. Before Ethan could react, his phone vibrated inside his pocket. There was no signal, no internet. Yet somehow, another call was coming in. The screen displayed only 2 words. Daniel calling. Ethan stared at his phone. The screen continued to glow. Daniel calling. His hands trembled as he answered. Daniel? For several seconds, there was only silence. Then his brother spoke. Ethan, don't follow me. The voice sounded weak, as though every word required tremendous effort. I'm coming to get you, Ethan replied. No. Daniel's voice became urgent. You have to leave. Right now. A loud crack echoed through the forest. The call cut off. At that exact moment, Ethan noticed something moving between the trees. One figure, then another. Then another. People slowly stepped out from behind the trunks, their faces pale and expressionless. Some wore hiking clothes that looked decades old. Others were dressed in torn uniforms or faded camping gear. None of them spoke. They simply stood there, staring at Ethan. His heart pounded as he realized something impossible. Every face matched an old missing person photograph he had seen growing up. People who had disappeared into Black Hollow years ago. People who had all supposedly returned home. If they had returned, then who were these? The figures began walking toward him in perfect silence. Not fast, not slow. Just one synchronized step after another. Ethan backed away until his foot struck something hidden beneath the leaves. He looked down. It was a weathered wooden marker, almost completely covered by moss. Brushing the dirt away, he uncovered a name carved into the wood. Daniel Mercer. Below it was a date, the exact day his brother had disappeared. Ethan's breathing became shallow. Someone had placed a grave deep inside the forest. But there was no body, only the marker. Then a cold hand rested gently on his shoulder. Ethan spun around. No one was there. The silent figures had vanished. Only the whispering remained. Soft voices drifted through the trees, repeating the same words over and over. He stayed. He stayed. He stayed. A sudden gust of wind swept through the forest. For the first time since entering Black Hollow, the birds began singing again. The insects returned. The silence was gone. Everything looked normal, almost too normal. Then Ethan noticed the trail ahead. It hadn't been there before. At the entrance stood another warning sign. Its faded paint was barely readable. If you find the one who never returned, do not bring him home. Ethan stood frozen, staring at the warning sign. His instincts told him to turn back, but Daniel's voice echoed in his mind. I'm still here. He tightened his grip on the old camera and followed the narrow trail. The deeper he walked, the stranger the forest became. The trees grew farther apart, revealing the remains of an abandoned village hidden beneath vines and moss. Empty wooden houses stood silently, their doors hanging open as though the people who lived there had left in a hurry. Everything was covered in dust. Everything, except one house. Its front porch looked clean. The windows were spotless. A faint light flickered behind the curtains. Ethan slowly pushed the front door open. Inside, a small wooden table was set for 2 people. 2 steaming cups of tea rested on the table. Someone had been there only moments earlier. Then he noticed a photograph lying beside one of the cups. It showed him and Daniel as children. The picture had been taken 20 years ago, but Ethan had never brought it into the forest. A voice whispered from upstairs. Ethan. He looked toward the staircase. The whisper came again. This time it sounded closer. I'm waiting. Without thinking, Ethan climbed the stairs. At the end of the hallway, one door stood slightly open. He reached for the handle. Before he could touch it, someone whispered directly into his ear, "Don't open it." Ethan turned around. No one was there. Every instinct told Ethan to run. Instead, he slowly pushed the door open. The room was empty, except for a single wooden chair facing the window. On the chair sat Daniel's backpack, the same backpack he had carried into the forest 5 years ago. It looked brand new. Ethan opened it with shaking hands. Inside were bottles of water that had never been opened, fresh food, a working flashlight. Everything looked as though Daniel had packed it that morning. At the bottom of the bag lay a worn notebook. The final page had only one sentence. The forest doesn't trap people. It replaces them. A loud bang shook the entire house. The front door slammed shut downstairs. Heavy footsteps echoed through the hallway. Slow, deliberate, someone was climbing the stairs. Step, step, step. Ethan held his breath. The footsteps stopped outside the room. The doorknob began to turn. Very slowly, the door creaked open. Standing there was Daniel. He looked exactly the same. Not a single wrinkle, not a single gray hair. His clothes were clean. His face was calm, but his eyes were completely black. Daniel smiled. You should have listened. Then every light in the house went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Ethan stumbled backward until his shoulder struck the wall. When the lights returned a few seconds later, Daniel was gone. Only the notebook remained on the floor. Another page had appeared. Ethan was certain it hadn't been there before. It read, "It learns your memories. It becomes the people you love. Never follow them." A deep rumble rolled through the forest. The entire house began to shake. Outside, hundreds of voices rose at once. Some were crying, some were laughing. Others called Ethan's name from every direction. He looked through the window. The abandoned village was no longer empty. Dozens of people stood silently between the houses. Children, old men, women, all watching him. None of them moved, none of them blinked. Then, slowly, every one of them raised a hand, pointed toward the center of the forest. At the same moment, Ethan's phone rang again. The screen displayed only one message. "Come find the real Daniel." Ethan looked toward the endless line of trees beyond the village. Somewhere deep inside Black Hollow, something was waiting for him. 3 slow knocks. Ethan opened it. No one was there. Only a small package resting on the doorstep. Inside was Daniel's old camera. The battery was fully charged. A new video had been recorded. The timestamp read, 1 hour ago. His hands shook as he pressed play. The screen showed the giant tree. The camera slowly turned. Daniel wasn't standing beneath it anymore. The place where he had been was empty. Then the camera tilted upward. Someone was holding it. The recording froze on a smiling face. It wasn't Daniel. It was Ethan. The screen went black. No one ever saw Ethan Mercer again. The only thing found inside his empty house was his phone. Its final voice recording contained just 5 words. "I'm still here. Don't follow me." And if the stories are true, Black Hollow Forest still returns everyone who enters. Everyone, except one. If you enjoyed this story and want more cinematic horror mysteries every week, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. The next story might be even darker and you won't want to miss it. Now tell me what you think. Did Daniel really choose to stay? Or was the forest manipulating Ethan from the very beginning? And if you had received that first phone call, would you have entered Black Hollow Forest or walked away forever? Let me know your theory in the comments.